Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. It's your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. It is Saturday. We have a show today. Get your butts over to Albuquerque, the Salt Yard West. The Salt Yard West in Albuquerque is our final show of the tour. It's been an amazing time, meeting amazing people, having the most unique experience ever. I have absolutely loved it. The whole team has loved it. We are going to do it again. Don't know the dates yet or the areas which we'll go, but I want to thank everybody for coming out and meeting and talking to people. And it was great because everybody get there, you kind of sit in your own little pod, you talk to your friends that you brought, and then by the end, everybody was talking to everybody about freedom, about silver manipulation, about cryptocurrencies, people teaching people how to set up a Litecoin wallet on their phones. It was awesome. It still is awesome. One more day today from 2 to 6 at Salt Yard West in Albuquerque. If you want to know how to get there, go to roadrunner.com, hit Roadshow, and down at the bottom is the last show. You can buy your tickets at the door. It's the Salt Yard West, 3700 Ellison Drive, Northwest, Albuquerque. And we all learned to spell Albuquerque since we had a show here. And we've been staying here for a while. Great time. We've had a blast in Albuquerque. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. So get your butts out there. I kind of feel like I'm exhausted from the silver battle after discovering yesterday that Bank of America added almost 400 million more silver leases to their book. It was shocking. The OCC data came out yesterday. I did a whole video on it yesterday. I've been thinking about it ever since. What the hell is going on? We now have JP Morgan's OCC derivative silver position equaling Bank of America's OCC derivative position. Ted Butler was 100% right. 100% right that JP Morgan had accumulated over 10 years 1.2 billion ounces of physical silver. Remember, the Hunt brothers got busted for accumulating 100 million. Yet JP Morgan, the most criminal bank in modern history, in any history, the history of banking. I think they have 4 felonies against them now, and nobody's ever gone to jail. Everybody gets off free. They pay a fine. They bake fines into when they run their numbers on is this a good deal or bad deal. Depending on how much fraud they're committing, they bake a fine into that deal and they cost it out to make sure they make more money than if they get busted. It's insane what is happening. But right now, Bank of America's silver derivative book and the over-the-counter side of it, which is, I'll get to that in a second, and JP Morgan's are equal, are almost exactly equal. And this is as of the end of the year last year. What is going to happen? It's opening up more to the understanding of how the COMEX con works. It's not just the top 4 silver riggers that suppress the price. They use the exchange for physical mechanism. Craig Hempty's all over this. Go check out his work. I'm just starting to get into it because I never thought it was a big deal because of the volumes. The volumes on exchange for physical, like a couple hundred million physical transfers every month. It was crazy. And I'm like, these can't be real. 100 to 200 million. But it is real if you think of it in a different way, that the LBMA is not a physical exchange at all. It's a washboard for criminal activity. So they'll build up the criminal activity on the COMEX in the U.S. where we have regulators supposedly, and then they'll take a lot of the fraud and move it over to London where they can do whatever they want for it. Because there's only 4 people who own the LBMA and approve every transaction. And you can probably guess who the 4 are, but let me show you who the 4 are, by the way. This is, I'll get to how much they launder in just a second. But here's the 4. They're right here. The way it's said, here's the actual words from the LBMA. Our clearing data represents net volume, that's key, by the way, of transfers of gold and silver physically held in London, known as Local London, settled between the 4 LBMA market maker banks that own and operate London Precious Metals Clearing LPMCL. LPMCL is owned by, drumroll please, of course, we have JP Morgan. That's the number one criminal in silver. They got dinged $920 million for mainly their silver rigging operation, tens of thousands of instances of silver market rigging. Number two, we've talked about forever, HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. They have been literally suppressing the price of silver since the 1850s, since the Opium Wars. And then you have UBS. UBS is that secretive Swiss bank that the bankers basically got together over 100 years ago and figured out we need a neutral country where no one can get the criminal assets that we hold. We'll create our crimes and then we'll hide it in Switzerland. That's been going on for I can't tell you how long, but UBS is there. And then ICBC, which I don't talk about much. It's basically Industrial Commerce Bank of China. Basically, it's China. And out of all four of those, who controls the market right now? China. China controls all of. They'll tell JP Morgan what to do because they've got them by the balls. That's how weak our system is. When China figured out, hey, this whole thing is criminal, they got in there and said, we're going to take over. So keep an eye on these. These are the four people who decide what happens in the price of silver. You take those people away, boom, we have a free market for silver. Who knows what the price would be? My take is going to 1-to-1 with gold. I think gold will go to $10,000 to $20,000 an ounce, and silver will go above that just in the beginning, if we have a free market. But how can you have a free market when you have things like the LBMA trading? What is this? Yesterday, very small trading day. 200 million ounces of silver were traded on the COMEX. Very small trading day. Here's a billion ounce day right here. This is all fraud. And it gets back to what I've been screaming about since the Silver Summit guys kicked me out of their little meeting, that I told all the silver mining companies, it's all about computers and derivatives. Derivatives control the price of everything. And that's what's being transferred. Exchange for physical has nothing to do with physical. They take these trades off of the COMEX and send them to the LBMA for the four banks that rig the price of silver to decide what to do with and how to do it. It's not exchanging for any physical at all. They are not exchanging 100 million ounces of physical every month. That's not happening. It's not there, first of all. So yeah, that's how the fraud is run. I'm going to be digging into more of that. Just another thing to dig into. I talked to Ted Butler about it. Yeah, he's like, well, we already know the derivative game is crazy because we see the COMEX or the OTC data from the OCC, the Office of Comptroller and Currencies. We know it's a fraud game. It's not even 100-to-1 that Jeffrey Christian claims. It's more like every year. The last time I calculated it, it was over 300 billion ounces of silver derivatives are traded back and forth, probably 99% between these four banks. Traded back and forth just to set the price. A lot of it is using a company called Virtu Financial, a high-frequency trading company that is a authorized participant of SLV. It's crazy right now. It is absolutely crazy. If you're new to this, just know this. Get physical silver in your own possession, and we can win this game. Physical silver in your own possession. There's a reason that premiums on American Eagles have gone to like $10, $15 an ounce. The reason is the criminality between the fake price, which is the derivative price, which we see on the COMEX, and the LBMA plays a huge role to launder all the crimes for the COMEX. So they commit the crimes on the COMEX, the price is set on the COMEX, and then a huge chunk of the positions that are supposed to be settled get thrown over to England, to the LBMA, which has no regulation at all. And it's controlled by these four criminal banks, HSBC, the China Industrial Bank, JP Morgan, and UBS. They decide how the derivative con is settled. Isn't that fun? Don't you feel happy you're part of the United States of America? Don't you feel like proud of your country that we have such a sound financial system, that everybody's doing so well? It's a fraud, it's a con, and it's about to end. Everybody knows about it now. Anyway, silver price is still way higher than what Bank of America wants it at. But ultimately, in the end, those four banks can settle any of these trades that they want. Anything they want. I don't think that the destruction of Bank of America is going to happen, because what are we looking at? Oh, what, are they going to lose money? They don't care about money. They get to create money out of thin air. Nobody in the banking system up in the upper echelons gives a shit about money, fiat money. They care about assets in their own possession. They care about getting their hands on. They care about paying their bonuses, number one. That's the current management. But the Federal Reserve System cares about keeping the system going. So they'll print more of it, print more of it, print more of it, create more of it. The difference between $100 trillion and a quadrillion dollars is one little tiny electronic zero. That's how money is created these days. So what do when you see the con, you see the fraud? Yes, I scream at regulators, I scream at anybody who'll listen, but ultimately you take action yourself. Get physical silver in your own possession. If you don't know how to do it, contact my friend Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin. We are going to be posting, I think today, maybe tomorrow, the Andy Scheckman speech that he gave at our show in San Diego. And amazing, half an hour of just laying out the truth of what's going on in silver. Yes, get your silver now. Andy Scheckman, send him an email, andy@milesfranklin.com. But first go to your local guy and say, hey, what do you got of silver? I need to buy up all your silver. Here's my truck. Can I carry all the silver you have in inventory? Silver, 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 silver. Cryptos are wonderful for the future. They're not going to do so well in the chaos of the transition. Silver will. Silver will. We won't know the price of either of them because the exchanges will be shut down. But get your assets in your own possession, including cryptos. Get them in your own possession. All right. So go check out yesterday's video. I explain what happened, what was released yesterday, why it's so important, and then I start digging into the LBMA con of exchange for physical, which is they take the problems they have on the COMEX, they transfer them to the 4 banks at the LBMA, and then that's how they wash their hands of it. Problem solved. Insane. I know. Trust me, I know. Price of silver is at $25.53. Bank of America wants it lower, but I don't even think they care anymore. Truthfully, they're already matchbook with JP Morgan. The cons remain. By the way, these are crimes, but they're crimes committed in colluding with each other, which is RICO crimes. And in RICO crimes, all the penalty for getting busted for a RICO crime is you have to pay back 3 times what you stole. So whatever goes on here, if it's 1.2 billion ounces of silver, Bank of America and JP Morgan will have to pay back 3.6 billion ounces of silver. Good luck ever getting that. And that's the fraud we live in. All right. Again, UBS is the secretive. It used to be more secretive, but UBS is headquartered in Switzerland, the biggest Swiss bank there is. And yes, we all know the bankers set up Switzerland as their place to hide criminal assets. I think that's falling apart now too. And then here's ICBC, which stands for Industrial and Commercial Bank of China Limited, obviously owned by the Chinese CCP. And they are I didn't know, but they are the #1 bank in the world by far. I thought it was JP Morgan, but here's the list. JP Morgan has, about $1 trillion in assets, and this might be an old. This might be an old article, but ICBC has 1.166 billion. Oh, that's sales. Here we go. Assets. JP Morgan has 2.6 billion or trillion, and ICBC has 3.3 trillion. So ICBC is the largest bank. It's basically a bank controlled by the Chinese government, which is kind of scary if you ask me. The U.S. government, the banks just pay off the politicians to do so that they can do anything they want. Our biggest problem in the U.S. now is not necessarily the banking system. It's the entire political spectrum. We need to get rid of our politicians and our regulators. Our regulators are just beyond criminal. Rustin Benham, the only guy left at the CFTC, controls whether or not JP Morgan is committing a crime or not, and he colludes with them to tamp down the price of silver. It's a con. We live in a world of cons. So what do? Get physical assets in your own possession. Expect the worst, because there's no smooth way out of here. There's no GESRA or NESRA or GFS, Global Financial System. It's all bullshit. You've been lied to. Again. Take care of yourself. Don't think that somebody, Klaus Schwab, has the answer to this problem. They are the creators of the problem. Same with Nesra and Jesra and the global financial system that is falling apart as we speak. It's all bullshit. Get your assets in your own possession. In the United States, we'll go back to gold, silver standard and probably have some kind of crypto. But it won't be something that is, oh, we've backed the dollar and you can't go in and trade your dollars in for gold. That won't work. Trust and faith will be lost. The money of the U.S. is silver and gold. I don't know how silver is going to play in, because silver is going to be extremely more valuable than gold, because we have massive amounts of gold and very little silver. But that silver, even today, the silver that comes out of the ground at 7-to-1 ratio to gold, most of that is used in the industrial side. So it's really coming out of the ground. Monetary silver is coming out of the ground at like 2-to-1, and yet it's priced at 75-to-1. So silver is the answer now. And then we can get into cryptos after the crash. Who knows what they're going to do with the crypto markets? All the exchanges will shut down, so we won't have the prices of those either. So that's where we are. Oh, for private road members, I have posted the latest Ginny Moonstone reading. We got deep. It was really cool. We got into Trump's return, the bad guys exposed, and then a double agent in the Silver Rigger gang. Very interesting. So check that out. And again, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I've just started the BixWeir.com website for my music, and you can download a whole bunch of music there, going back, way back to the early 1980s when I knew 3 chords and I'd sit in my bathtub, and because that was the most acoustic place. And then I hit play a record on my little handheld recorder on the tape, and it's hysterical. Some of these songs, at first I thought it was embarrassing, and then I thought it was cool. When you listen to the words of a young, starving artist, college student, you'll both laugh and cry, because there's good stuff in there. And then obviously all the crypto stuff is there too. So go check that out at BixWeir.com. We're off to the show in Albuquerque. Hope to see you there 2:00 at the Salt Yard West in Albuquerque. I'll talk to you later.